All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, Bashem Rekakadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of His only begotten Son, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Now, you have the law and you have grace. And this situation is very complicated. Many details that you're gonna have to factor in to your conclusion of understanding what you should be doing and how you should be uh, perceiving this situation and understanding this situation. Like Proverbs say, Proverbs chapter 4, say, with all thy getting, get understanding. See, understanding is the key. And you have a misunderstanding with people. They quote scriptures out of context and they push a vibration that's not in the right order. And one of the main misunderstandings is people say, if you break one, you break them all. You break one law, you break them all. You commit one sin, you committed. He say, if you committed one sin, you broke the whole law. Something in that direction. But I'm gonna get that verse. But they use that verse to pretty much try to say that all sin is the same. You see? And so they take that verse out of context to try to say all transgression is the same when it's not. So that's what's confusing a lot of people, because people will take that statement that's saying all sin is the same, and then they'll run with it and try to say that pretty much devalue the importance of keeping the law. All sin is the same. So you worried about the law and the law this and the law that. No, that's not what that's saying. All sin is not the same, and they, in that verse or in that area of conversation that he was writing down, he had it in a certain context. And that context was on the level of sin that you was committing, because there's levels to sin. All sin is not the same. But this is what people who push that statement, you've transgressed the whole law if you break one. If you break one, you do not transgress the whole law. You see, that's like you saying you done committed all the sins in the law if you done broke one. And that's not the truth. It's just saying you have not completed the whole law. If you done broke one, you can't say you got 100%. If you done broke one of them laws, you can't be around here talking about you could keep the law, the whole law, 100%. So that's what the verse pretty much was saying, and it was going into another situation that a lot of these Christians don't understand. And then you got Hebrews. So let me get into this. I don't want to make it long because I got a lot of verses. So let's get into let's see here. Let's get into Hebrews, because that was the first verse that inspired this lesson. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 29. Well, really, you know what? It's 29 starting from 28. It says, he that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Now, this is 26. I wanted to add that in there too. Say, for if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth in the law, therefore remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Okay, and so it was bringing home the fact that if you willingly doing something or committing a sin willfully, see, that's the main idea. It's the willful sinning, especially on certain kind of sins, because all sins are not the same. But if you willfully sinning on any kind of sin, you see. But let me get into 29. It say, of how much sorer punishment suppose ye shall he be, though worthy, who have trodden under the foot of the Son of God, and have counted the blood of the covenant, wherewith he was sacrificed, an unholy thing, and have done despite unto the Spirit of grace. So it's pretty much saying somebody who pretty much saying that the sacrifice that Yahushua gave is not holy, and they just gonna not keep the law. They gonna willfully sin and not keep the law, trash all the laws, and say the sacrifice that he gave did away with the whole law, and we just gonna willfully sin and do what we want to do. See, that's the point that is being made here. That you're gonna have a worse punishment than when it was the law. When it was the law dictating what was gonna happen to you. Now that it's a spirit of grace that's going on, if you misuse that and just do whatever you want to do, break all the laws, do away with the whole law, and just do whatever you want to do, you're going to have a worse punishment. And we know what that is. That's the lake of fire. But let's go into this. All laws the same. All laws is not the same. But let's get that in James 2 and 10, where people always quoting. It say, for whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. See, that's what we talking about. This is the context. Guilty of all. What laws? Look at what he focusing on. Verse 11, it say, for he that said, do not commit adultery, says also, do not kill. Now if thou commit adultery and yet thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. So this is the context. And look at the sins that he's talking about. Adultery and murder. Okay, that takes us to the next point. Because the context of that was this right here. 1 John 5. 1 John 5, it says, if any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. Verse 17, it says, all unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. So all sin is not the same. It's a sin unto death, and it's a sin not unto death. Now let's do Deuteronomy 21 and 22. It says, if any man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death. Now they butchered the heck out of that. Let me read that again. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, you see, it was a sin worthy of death, because in the law it had statutes and judgment. It was specific judgments for whatever law that you broke. Every judgment wasn't the same. See, that's what we're going to go back to go back to James and break down. Every judgment is not the same. So look at what James was bringing out. Look at verse 13. It says, for he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoice against judgment. Now that rejoice can go for mercy has victory against judgment, or mercy has triumphed over judgment. See, when you give mercy, it's gonna be bigger than the judgment. Like when Yahweh told the harlot that was caught in adultery, he showed her mercy, and it was greater than him showing judgment. It triumphed over him showing judgment, because the mercy is greater than the judgment. And see, that's another thing that these people is not focusing on. They looking at people talking about keeping the whole law, because they thinking about these Christians that done trash the whole law. See, that's what Hebrews was talking about. Hebrews was warning against trashing the whole law. That's what Hebrews was focusing on. It's gonna be a worse punishment if you acting like you gonna be able to sin willfully and trash the whole law. And what Apostle Paul said, because they thought Apostle Paul was trying to trash the whole law. What is it, 3:31? He said, do we make void the law through faith? Meaning, do we make nothing, make it, throw it straight in the trash because of faith? God forbid. Yeah, we established the law. See? We have to establish the law, teach the law. Let me get that in what Yahweh told us to do. Matthew 5:19. He said, whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. See, that do and teaching is very powerful, because first of all, you got to be teaching it to know what's going on with it. That's why I say the knowledge of sin, the knowledge of the law is sin. You got to have the knowledge of the law to know that you sinning. Now let me see if I can find this transgress. Let's see. What we got? How many? Oh Lord, I gotta go way down. Because it talks about said whosoever, look at 1 John 3 and 4, whosoever committed sin transgress also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. Okay. All right. Oh, there it is. 4 and 15 say, because the law worketh wrath, for where is no law there is no transgression. So you got to teach the law so people know when they transgress. So that's the responsibility, teaching the law, so people can know when they transgression, so they won't be willfully sinning. That's a form of trashing the law. You're not even teaching the law. You're not even paying attention to the law. See, and it's different law. That's why he say, if you break one of the least commandments, and then you're telling people that the law is done away with. See, you can break one of the least commandments and still teach the law. You breaking the least commandment, but you teaching the law. You that's not the same as you breaking the least commandment and you telling people not to even pay no attention to the law. See, teaching the law is a form of helping people to keep the commandment, helping them to understand the commandments where they can know if they can keep it, and if it might be a conflict, then grace come into the picture. But if you don't even teach it, how is the people gonna know? That's what's that, Malachi. I'm gonna get Malachi and closing on out. Malachi 2 and 7, it say, for the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they shall seek the law at his mouth. For he is the messenger of Yahweh of armies. See, it's a need to teach the law, because individuals don't know, and they might be confused, where somebody can come and confuse them about the law and saying, oh, we keeping all the law, because they don't know the intricate details of the law. And people, that's what's going on in Israel right now. The individuals is trying to act like they keeping the whole law, but they not keeping the whole law. So it's forcing the elders to teach the whole law and show them that you're not keeping this whole law. See, this law is not, you're not going to be able to keep this whole law. This is just not something you're going to be able to do. That's why, let me get that. And Kings, First King, where my Kings at? 1 Kings 8:46. It say, if they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not. See, it's no man that's not gonna sin not. You're not gonna be able to keep that whole law in this, especially in captivity in the land. And look at where it's being said at. It says, if they sin against you, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of their enemy. See, in the land of your enemy, you is not going to be able to keep this law. You're not going to be able to do it. And then look what he's saying, 46. 47, he said, yet if they shall bethink themselves. He didn't say, oh, if they shall start keeping the whole law in the land where they was carried captive. He didn't say that. He said to confess that you've been living a wicked life. Then 48. And so return unto you with their whole heart. So he's saying return with your whole heart. See, that's what he's talking about. He didn't say you are required to keep this whole law perfectly. Then I can uh take y'all back to the homeland. He said you gotta bethink yourself first of all and know that you're an Israelite and you gotta return to the Lord, man. With your whole mind. Knowing that you're an Israelite. Not worried about something you got to keep the whole law. That ain't what he put nowhere in him. Prayer and supplication was the main thing, and returning with your whole mind. See, in the land of their enemies. This is what you will be doing in the land of your enemies. Not trying to think that you can keep the whole freaking law perfectly. It's not going to happen. Said there is no man that sinneth not. You can't do it. You gonna break these laws. These laws too intricate, and these laws got too much details to them for you to be in the land of your enemies trying to dictate this law. This law is for you to be in your homeland and in your own land. That's why he took them out of Egypt. Say, I need them to go to a separate place so they can keep this law. They can worship me. And worship in the Lord was keeping the law. So he needed to take them out of bondage, out of Egypt, so they can keep that law in the manner that he wanted them to keep it. Because they couldn't do it in Egypt. And this spiritual Egypt, he gonna have to take us out of here for us to do that law how he wanted us to do it originally. We're not gonna be able to do it like that in the land of our captivity. That's why it's in parentheses, man. For there is no man that's in it not. There's no man that that ain't gonna mess up with this law. You ain't gonna do it. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Um, the main points was the law has different judgments. All the judgments of the law is not the same. It's breaking the law unto death. Now, I want to get this before I close out because I was thinking about this when I started. It says, ye know not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. Be not deceived, neither fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, effeminate, abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, covetous, drunkards, revelers, extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. Now, most of these sins are sins unto death. See, fornicators, adulteries, those are sin unto death. Being a effeminate acting, same-sex marriage, alphabet man, those are sins unto death. Then he went to talking about stealing and being a drunk and stealing. Stealing was the least petty crimes. See, though he came out with the hardcore crimes unto death, and then he hit you with the petty crimes: stealing, being jealous, drinking too much, want to fight people and fuss with and argue with people all the time, and try to steal people money, threaten them, and all this kind of stuff. That stuff is least, even though they still named on there now that he ain't gonna let you make it. If you just sitting up here saying it ain't no lawful thing, that's why look at verse 12. He had to bring the law into it. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient, mean profitable. And so this is the whole thing. They getting they panties in a bunch because they fighting with these Christians all the time, saying that you shouldn't junk the whole law. But that's right. You don't junk the whole law, but at the same time, you gotta understand that you ain't gonna keep that whole law either. It's a balance to that thing, and you got to fight to do what you able to do. And mainly those least commandments, most of them you can get done, and those and you could be teaching not to do so, but those sin unto death, you better know you're not gonna make it. If you sinning unto death willfully, you're not gonna make it, man. You is gonna be destroyed, guaranteed. But it's a lot of sin that ain't been named over here outside of stealing and killing and being a drunk that these people arguing over, like wearing fringes, like wearing certain things, wearing how you dressing. Now for a woman, that's something different because that's causing whoredom to go on. That's causing fornication, causing adultery. See, but when it comes to a man, that's not them. That's petty for a man. What he wearing and all this type of stuff. When it comes to the law, mixed fabric, fringes. Come on, man. You on some petty laws. We and the man teaching the law. He teaching the law and he keeping the law. He wearing them. But they want you to wear them every day. Every time you come out your house, you got to have them on. Like, come on, man. Now you done pushed it to the limit. And that's what started the whole discussion and going back and forth, trying to see who is on point with the law. Because somebody ain't walking out their house every day, every second with some fringes on. Come on, man. The law is being kept and it's being taught. That's the whole thing. Outside of that, it shouldn't be no discussion. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Kakadash, double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.